Indigenous leaders from BC met with Premier David Eby today to try and convince him to halt his new legislation to fast-track building projects. But it doesn't look like it worked. For more, let's check in with Rob Shaw at the BC Legislature. Rob, update us on what happened today.
Well, Stacey, we reported last week about concerns from Indigenous leaders that Bill 15 cuts out consultation, may weaken environmental protections in the name of speeding up construction on everything from schools to mines to hospitals. That bill to a head today with the bill in its final stages here at the Legislature and ultimatums from First Nations chiefs. The Premier and members of the First Nations Leadership Summit meeting today to discuss this bill. Eby's declared it a matter of confidence. He has admitted his government did a poor job consulting with Indigenous leaders, but he says the really substantive stuff will happen later when his cabinet sets regulations, and First Nations will be included in that process. Not everyone convinced. The Union of BC Indian Chiefs earlier today making this post on social media: fix the bill or kill the bill, but don't dare say trust us. That carried into the multi-hour meeting with the Premier and leaders, after which Grand Chief Stuart Phillip issued this statement. The province is saying trust us, that they won't misuse the unfettered power these bills provide. However, considering the bills were created without consultation and cooperation, and the province continues to refuse amendments, it's unclear what this trust would be based on. He goes on to say if the province wants to fast-track projects, the bills are just going to set up bigger fights. Now, the meeting, it turns out, did not go well. Eby refused to change or delay both this bill as well as Bill 14 that makes a single regulator for energy projects. You have the Assembly of First Nations out calling this outrageous. You have other First Nations groups saying repeal this. And meanwhile, Infrastructure Minister Bowen Ma admitting her government made a mistake in how it rolled this out today, but continuing to insist, despite everything, she will be going ahead.
The government in error, as you said last night, was the government in error.
So clearly, based on the responses that we have since received from First Nations leadership, when following the tabling of the bill, that our assessment of our previous assessment on this was incorrect.
David Eby seems hell-bent on just wanting to say it's my way or the highway, and we're going to be through with this. He's already said, based on what's come forward from the First Nations Leadership Council, that he's going to ignore their concerns and proceed with these bills anyway. And once again, it just shows the type of approach that he is taking. It's a dictatorship approach to actually ramming through legislation in this building without proper process.
The Premier out with a statement saying he had some frank discussions with the chiefs, but the legislation going ahead. The chiefs out with a statement saying they're considering their next options. A lot on the table there. There's 1 week left in the legislative session, not next week because it's a break week, where this is going to build to some sort of final fight and passage in the legislature. Stacey, will see how that goes.
All right, I'm sure we'll be talking more about this in the days to come. Rob, thanks so much for giving us an update on the latest.